What is up, everybody? I am Travesty.
I'm Freak Joe.
And welcome back to this freaky show. It is the month-long celebration of Halloween. And, I'm not gonna lie, Freak Joe, I'm excited for this moment.
I'm pumped.
Right? And don't worry, guys, I'm not gonna talk like this the entire time. I really just want to get the essence of this freaky show out to the viewers as we try to bring some light to 2020. Alright, I can't do that anymore. I tried. Guys, I'm so glad that we're doing this. This freaky show is one of my favorite things we do here, as part of this freaking show. We spend the entire month of October celebrating Halloween, talking about spooky things like ghosts and monsters and horror movies. The Freak Joe is back here with us. He's going to bring back Freaky Tales. We're going to read some self-created stories. One I wrote myself, one that was written by Sarge from the Gray Area, and of course by the request of the Freak Joe, we're going to start out this first week with an Edgar Allan Poe story, as we've done over the last two This Freaky shows that came before. So we're going to dive into all that here, but before I do, I got to remind you all that this episode of This Freaky Show is brought to you by ballwash.com. Guys, for Halloween, don't be a stinking swine. Make sure you wash your genitals. And if you want to wash your genitals, make sure you wash them with the best product out there. That's right. I am talking about ballwash.com. Anything from head to toe, from hole to pole. They got body wash, shampoos, conditioners, nut rubs. They got a lotion that goes on wet and it dries like a powder. They got handy little on-the-go wipes. They got body scrubbers. You can buy each of their products individually, but if you want, you can also buy them in a nice little gift kind of package, or you can sign up to their Ball Wash subscription box. Everything's available if you just go to ballwash.com. And guys, if you go to checkout and you put in the promo code FREAKNET, that's FREAKNET, you'll save yourself 15% on your entire order. That's right, ballwash.com. Don't be a stinking stein. Clean your junk.
This freaking show is also brought to you by Audible.com. If you'd like to pick yourself up a scary story, perhaps a scary story to tell in the dark, that will be read to you by a fantastic voice actor, you can head over to audibletrial.com/freaknet and get yourself a free 30-day trial to get you through this month of Halloween and a credit towards your first audiobook purchase. Head on over to audibletrial.com/freaknet today.
Good job, Joe.
Thank you. I couldn't keep up the vampire accent as long as I wanted.
It's rough, isn't it?
It's hard. It's much harder than I expected.
Right. Guys, we do have a lot to go on this show. We're going to play a game later on called Shit or Treat. We're going to talk about some horror movies, finding out which one coming out in 2021 the Freak Joe would prefer to see the absolute most. Like I mentioned, the Freak Joe will be bringing back Freaky Tales. So it's like it's a way of kind of giving you an idea of how Audible works. Freak Joe is going to be your Audible for the evening as he reads you an Edgar Allan Poe story. We also got to update the presidential beatdown bracket, and I do want to talk a little bit about the YouTube videos that have been releasing. One released this past Tuesday, one's releasing on Friday, and then 2 every week for the next 3 weeks. I want to talk a little bit about that for as well. But this is season 3. We do have a tradition here for season 3 on what freaking happened this week. So, Joe, do you want to tell me what freaking happened this week?
I would be glad to. In fact, today, as we record October 8th, is R.L. Stine's birthday. Very book-themed episode today. Didn't plan that, just happened. R.L. Stine, or Robert Lawrence Stine, as Wikipedia tells me, is an American novelist, short story writer, television producer, screenwriter, and executive editor. He has been referred to as the Stephen King of children's literature and is the author of hundreds of horror fiction novels, including books in the Fear Street, Goosebumps, Rotten School, Mostly Ghostly, and the Nightmare Room series. Some of his other books include Space Cadets Trilogy, 2 Hark game books, and dozens of joke books. And as of 2008, Stein's books have sold over 400 million copies, which I think is fantastic. Mm-hmm. But one of my all-time favorite children's book writers. I loved reading Goosebumps growing up.
I know. I know I've had there's been I can't say I read them, but I did watch like the TV show Goosebumps. And I know I've seen a bunch of them, but the only one that ever really sticks out in my mind is the one where the dad is like overtaken by a plant. A plant turns into like his form.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And then like his daughter or whatever finds him like locked up in like a cabinet in the basement and stuff like that. And she ends up spraying like the plant father with like weed killer or some shit.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one that always comes to mind whenever I think of Goosebumps. And I know like the Jack Black movie came out a few years back. I never had a chance to read or see that. Have you had a chance to check that one out?
No, I haven't. I heard it was really good.
I heard it was good too. I heard it was like a sequel to it or some shit.
Really? That's neat.
Yeah. But I also have one from today. And mine dates back to 1871. It is the start of the Great Chicago Fire.
Ooh, I thought about doing that one.
Right? I thought when you said today, I was like, oh, he's going to do the Chicago Fire. Which is fine, because I did have a backup just in case.
Oh, nice.
Which probably would have been more Halloween themed. Anyways, 3.3 square miles of Chicago is destroyed, more than 250 people killed, and 100,000 of the 300,000 residents were left homeless. Adding to the problem, Chicago has been in a drought, having received only 1 inch of rain since July 4th.
Woof.
It was not Mrs. O'Leary's cow that started the fire, even though it was reported in the Chicago Tribune's first post-fire issue. 22 years later, the author of the story retracted it, stating it was fabricated. The fire started about 9 p.m. near a barn belonging to the O'Leary family. The O'Learys claimed they were already asleep and not milking the cow, as the article claimed. Since officials never determined the exact cause of the fire, but it's possible that a group of men who were gambling inside the barn knocked over a lantern.
Blaming it on the cow.
Right? Isn't that the way they do it, though? It's always livestock's
Chicago
fault.
tradition.
Right? Always the livestock's fault. Anywho, guys, we didn't have a show last week. That's on us. I know you guys missed us. But
we didn't have a show last week?
We didn't have a show last week.
I don't even, that's, okay. Wow. Sorry I didn't notice. I feel terrible.
I'm like 90% sure that we definitely didn't have a show last week.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. Was last week the 25th? No.
Yeah.
It was not.
Maybe?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No,
it was we closed on the 27th. The 25th was the Sunday.
Yeah.
No.
So
I'm looking at it.
The 27th was a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm looking at a calendar of October.
Yeah. So no, we did not have a show last week, but it's okay. Freak Joe over there was busy with Cartoon Joe as he was doing the next chapter of his life. Busy doing that. I started a new job, so I was busy getting all that together. And plus we wanted to kind of prepare ourselves for this freaky show. So I'm sorry you guys missed us last week, but it's okay. That just means you get an extra week of November for our season. So it'll be okay. Anywho, Joe, I can't believe you didn't know we didn't do a show last week.
I can't believe I forgot that we didn't do a show last week.
Right.
I knew it during the week. I just forgot.
Anyway, it's been really busy. And the thing is, like, we have so much releasing in October anyways, it kind of makes up for it. So we're okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Guys, we finished out round 1 of the POTUS Beatdown bracket 2 weeks ago. Just kind of recap the matchups from 2 weeks ago. Dwight D. Eisenhower took on Franklin D. Roosevelt. John Q. Adams took on William Taft. James Polk took on James Monroe. And Andrew Jackson took on Franklin Pierce. The results of those matchups were Eisenhower beating out Roosevelt, Adams beating out Taft, Monroe beating out Polk, and Jackson taking Pierce out of the game. So that wraps up round one, which you say wow like one of them surprises you.
No, none of them surprised me.
Gotcha. There was one, and I wish I could remember. Again, this was 2 weeks ago. There was one that was very, very close. And the hardest part about doing this is, cause I put the polls across 3 different, Facebook stories. Cause apparently stories and groups are the only places you can do polls. You can't do polls on pages. Dumb.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I put it on my personal Facebook, story. I put it on This Freakin' Show's Facebook story. And I put it on, Freaknet Studios, Facebook story. Now I want to say it was the Eisenhower-Roosevelt matchup where Roosevelt crushed Eisenhower on my story, but then on This Freakin' Show and Freakin' Studios, Eisenhower crushed Roosevelt. So, not sure how it turned out. I know Eisenhower just won out by a couple. Monroe and Polk were very close. Jackson and Pierce was a landslide, and Adams and Taft was pretty much a no-brainer for Adams. So, they cleared up round 1, which means we head over to round 2. We go back to, the matchups that started at the very beginning. So in round 2, we're going to do 4, matchups. So Theodore Roosevelt's going to take on Martin Van Buren. Grover Cleveland's going to take on Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh,
George Washington's taking on Andrew Johnson. And wrapping it up is John Adams taking on Lyndon B. Johnson. So, I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more weeks of this. So, bear with us, guys, as we move forward. Again, those polls will be up on our Facebook page. Make sure you get your votes in and everything. And let's find out who is the true presidential badass, of all times.
Nice.
I think I did that right.
I think so too.
Excellent. And also a reminder, guys, if you guys haven't had a chance yet, make sure you check out the Freaky Cemetery series that we launched over on our YouTube page. That is the Freaknet Studios YouTube page. All you gotta do is go to YouTube, type in Freaknet Studios, and then we pop right up. Make sure you subscribe to us, hit the notification bell so you know when the videos that we do drop. Me and the Freak Joe went out and we did some kind of adventures at 8 separate cemeteries within the mid Illinois area. Aux Sable dropped this past Tuesday again, and then I believe Friday is going to be Moon Point out in Streator, Illinois. So if I had to guess, 2 of the 3 oldest cemeteries, if you count the Lithuanian one as well. I think the other ones were fairly newer, but at the same time, a lot of them were 1800s ones anyways. But definitely 2 of the creepiest. So, Joe, you did have a chance to check out the Aux Sable video. I would kind of like your feedback on it. How did you feel about the video? Did you happen to check anything, maybe notice anything in the video that maybe I missed during editing or we didn't really grasp at first glance? I'm assuming I know I didn't see the little girl. I doubt maybe you didn't either.
No, I did not see the little girl. I was looking for her. I was looking hard, especially this time around. But no dice. How'd you
feel about the video footage of the inside of the mausoleum or the caretaker's building?
It was hard to see. The light on the camera did not work as well as I hoped it would.
Yeah, I know.
I liked it. Added some ambiance.
Yeah, it would have been kind of cool to kind of actually get in there to look at it. But it's kind of like how you said on the video. It's probably just shovels and shit.
Right.
But I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed doing all of them. All 8 locations were really cool. Each one has its own unique kind of thing on it. A little behind the scenes of that Aux Sable one, as it wasn't part of the recording, but when Freak Joe were entering the cemetery, we heard children's laughter. I believe we did mention it in the video.
Yeah, we did.
like doing the recordings, doing the editing and stuff like that, like, I'm going to be honest with you, like, I am more convinced that it was anything but legit children.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me, that they were just regular children.
No, I don't believe it was.
Oh, you don't believe it? Sorry.
I don't believe it was legit. It seemed almost too audible to actually be children.
Oh, I don't know.
So,
Kids can scream pretty loud when they're laughing.
I know, but it seemed like if they were laughing, they were laughing like by the road. It wasn't like in their own backyard. And it didn't sound like an echo in any way. It sounded like legit fucking children.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the freakiest thing was the Resurrection Cemetery. There was that voice. And I am foreshadowing, so I encourage you guys to check out that video. So, because that one, I definitely heard a voice. Joey, I believe I sent you the noise that was heard.
You did. I listened to it. I haven't been able to hear anything.
Oh, come on now.
Sorry.
I hate you. I hate everything about you. No, it's there. It's there. And the last episode of this freaky show, I believe, is October 30th. Resurrection Cemetery video, I believe, gets released that Tuesday, which I think is the 27th. But on the 30th, on the last episode, I'll tell you the timestamp of the noise, so you guys can go back and check it out in case you missed it. But it's fucking there. It's just like that acorn or walnut that skipped across the ground in tomorrow's episode that I'm still not convinced it came from a tree. So I don't believe that things just randomly happened because we were there. I won't do it. I will refuse to fucking do it.
I don't think they randomly happened because we were there. We just happened to be there when they randomly happened.
I don't believe it. I refuse to believe it.
All right, that's fine.
I refuse to fucking believe it.
You do you.
I will. And I look forward to talking about the acorn more next week.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, we are talking about Halloween. We are talking about all things spooky. Let's recap real quick here. In the list of holidays throughout the year, where does Halloween fall for you?
Probably number 2 or number 3.
Number 2 behind Christmas?
Number 2 behind Easter, actually.
Oh, gotcha.
I like Easter a lot.
Gotcha. Halloween's my absolute favorite. I wish I could decorate more in my household, as I should. I guess technically, I wish I would, not that I could.
Yeah.
It's just decorations and stuff, and I hate putting decorations on and taking it down. Same thing for Christmas. I just hate decorating for Christmas.
The hardest part about having a home now is that I don't have the money to buy the 12-foot skeleton from Home Depot.
Right? But it's a strong investment if you were to.
Right, yeah. It would last for years. It'd be great.
Yeah. I do believe my town is doing trick-or-treating. Halloween falls on a Saturday this year, which is absolutely amazing. It's unfortunate, though, that it has to happen during COVID. The one time people can actually enjoy Halloween, they can't really enjoy Halloween because coronavirus is still plaguing our entire fucking lives.
Yep.
So that's still a thing. But it is on a Saturday. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the vlogs that we're releasing. I'm excited to do this freaky show. I can't express that enough. So we're going to move forward, and we're going to do our game of shit or treat here as we move forward in the episode. Because I don't want to banter too much. I want to banter just enough to where it's entertaining, but not too much like it's almost like a filibuster.
Yeah.
I don't want to filibuster, Joe.
Get rid of the filibuster.
I don't want to filibuster. Yeah. Okay.
Down with it.
Right. So a lot of horror movies are coming out in 2021. We're not going to do all of them. I'm only going to do a few of them. And by a few, I mean, I'm only going to do the ones that IMDb has plots for. Some of them don't have. I'm going to completely skip them because I want to read what the plot is so it gives you an idea of what the movie's about. Now, the way this game works, if you guys remember, way back in April, Derek had a birthday. And what we did is we talked about all of the horrible, horrible things that happened every year between 1989 and 2020. And what Cartoon Joe did in that one, I gave him 89 and 90. I gave him 2 events that happened per year. He picked which one was worst. We moved on with that one to 91. Picked the worst, moved on to 92, so on and so forth until 2020. That's exactly how we're going to do this game here. I'm going to give Freak Joe 2 movies. One's going to be shit and one's going to be treat. Treat is moving forward. And by the end of this game, we'll be able to tell you which movie Freak Joe would prefer to see, and that's one that we'll recommend you guys go check out in 2021, when and if it actually does come out, because a lot of movies have been postponed from 2020 as well. So, Freak Joe, if you are ready, I am ready as well.
I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay, first movie on the list here is Candyman. A spiritual sequel to the horror film Candyman from 1992 that returns to the now gentrified, I don't know if I pronounce it, gentrified?
Yep, gentrified.
What does that mean, Joe?
So it's like when wealthy people move into a neighborhood and it makes the neighborhood nicer in some ways, but also makes it hard for poor people to live there.
Gotcha. Now gentrified Chicago neighborhood where the legend began. That's number 1. Number 2 is Army of the Dead. Following a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, a group of mercenaries take the ultimate gamble, venturing into quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted.
That actually sounded really good at the end of that. But it doesn't feel like a horror movie.
Because it went with greatest heist ever attempted?
Yeah, because you tricked me. It was a horror movie at the beginning, and then it switched to a heist movie. And I was surprised.
Now, this is IMDb's classification of horror, so I gotta go by what IMDb says. There was a list that I was gonna go off of. Unfortunately, half of them were discontinued, maybe coming out in 2021, but they had Hotel Transylvania on that list. So, they went Halloween-based movies. I don't want to do Halloween. I want to do horror. So, we gotta go by what IMDb says, because it's on the internet, and we all know if it's on the internet, gotta be true.
Yep. I'm gonna go Army of the Dead, only because I feel like Candyman, I'm sure there'll be other ones on this list. I want something halfway original, and this sounds halfway original to me.
Okay. Okay, so we got Army of the Dead taking on The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. A chilling story of terror, murder, and unknown evil that shocked even experienced real-life paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Lauren. One of the most sensational cases from their, and why did it just cut off? Oh, God, no. One of the most sensational cases from their files. It started with a fight for the soul of a young boy, then takes them beyond anything they've ever seen before, to mark the first time in U.S. history that a murder suspect would claim demonic possession as a defense.
That sounds way better than I want it to sound.
Because it's part of the Conjuring saga?
Yep. But it actually sounds like a more traditional horror story. It's got some based on a true events stuff going on. I think it seems like a more traditional horror movie, so I gotta pick it. I gotta move on to it.
Okay. Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It is now going up against Halloween Kills. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode continues in the next thrilling chapter of the Halloween series. No. And yes, Jamie Lee Curtis is returning.
Damn it, I forgot.
And I don't know if Anthony Michael Hall is playing Michael Myers, but he's also in the movie.
Nice. I'm going to stick with Conjuring, Devil Made Me Do It, just because it seems like there's like 14 Halloween movies, and I'm bored by them. I know that they're going for the nostalgia thing, and I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Jamie Lee Curtis is wonderful. If you want to see the movie, please go see it. I'm going to stick with Conjuring.
Whoa, Freak Joe.
What?
Only one movie they can
then don't see it. Fuck
Only one movie they could go see.
Kill it, put it at the bottom of a lake.
Exactly.
Where it belongs.
For those of you who don't know who Anthony Michael Hall is, have you ever seen Breakfast Club? He's the nerd.
Oh.
Yeah. He was also the main character in I think 4400 in I think there was a USA TV show.
What? I did not know that.
And he also played the detective or the chief, the interment chief in the TV show Psych.
Huh.
So, yeah. Anthony Michael Hall is a pretty cool dude. It was weird because like when you see him as an adult compared to when he played that nerd in
oh, he's very different.
Very fucking different.
Goodness, he went from like, I don't know, but he's the Crypt Keeper now from Scooby-Doo.
There we go. Next movie here is Spiral. A sadistic mastermind unleashes a twisted form of justice in Spiral, the terrifying new chapter from the Book of Saw.
Yes, please. I don't like the Saw movies. I personally think the concept is really boring, but that sounds cool. It sounds cooler than The Conjuring to me. Okay. So that's what we're going with.
Cool. Let's see here. Not that one. So Spiral will be going up against Vengeance. A radio host from New York City attempts to solve the murder of his girlfriend and travels down south to investigate the circumstances of her death and discover what happened to her. Fun fact, Ashton Kutcher is in this movie. Don't know what role he's playing, but he's in this movie.
All right. I'm going to call that one shit.
There we go. Spiral is taking on Last Night in Soho. A young girl passionate about fashion design is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s where she encounters her idol, a dazzling wannabe singer. But 1960s London is not what it seems, and time seems to fall apart with shady consequences.
Yeah.
I heard a lot about this movie. This is the one I probably heard. This one and, I can't remember what movie it was, but, it was like, some, journalist who, like, I think she goes back in time and, like, is stuck being, like, a slave or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah. It was, I don't remember the name of it anymore. Antebellum.
Yeah. Was that a time traveling one too?
Yeah, on its face.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Last Night at Soho's moving on?
Yep.
Alright. Dark Harvest. Holy shit. I hope this isn't real. A legendary monster called October Boy terrorizes residents in a small Midwestern town when he rises from the cornfields every Halloween with his butcher knife and makes his way towards those who are brave enough to confront him.
Yeah.
So I believe this is Children of the Corn meets Michael Myers?
Excellent. I'm in.
You want Dark Harvest?
I do. I love corn-based horror.
Now, I'm going to say cornfield in a Midwestern town. That's got to be Illinois.
Yeah, right?
Or Indiana.
It could be Indiana or Ohio or Iowa.
God. Is this heaven?
Yep. No, it's Iowa. I know the line.
Excellent. That was part of the Mandela effect?
I did not.
You know what the known phrase in that movie is?
No.
The "if you build it" phrase?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think it is?
If you build it, he will come.
Okay. A lot of people think it's they.
I would have rattled that off if you didn't tell me that I thought about it a little bit harder than I would normally have.
Yeah, well, I thought it was, if you build it, they would come, because I thought it was like the baseball team. Because I can't remember the part where he says like, who's he? I totally forgot about that part, but.
I forgot about that too. I always thought they were the fans.
Yeah, see, I always thought it was like they as in like the,
ball club.
Yeah. But I guess I guess like the part with, oh god, what the fuck is that guy's name? Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but where he says like ease his pain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, so I guess, yeah. Right? Go the distance. Okay. Dark Harvest is moving on. Okay, Dark Harvest is taking on Children of the Corn. A film describes the events leading up to and including the massacre of the adults of a small town in Nebraska by their children. After the adults irresponsibly, God damn, that's a stupid word. After the adults' irresponsibility ruins the crop and the children's future. What? Stupid.
Yeah, I agree. It's not moving on.
So do you want the movie with the murder in the corn, or do you want the movie with the children in the corn?
The Murderer in the Corn. Dark Harvest moves on.
Okay. The Dark Harvest versus the Devil's Light. A nun prepares to perform an exorcism and comes face to face with a demonic force with mysterious ties to her past.
I'm sticking with Dark Harvest.
Dark Harvest is taking on Run, Rabbit, Run. Elizabeth Moss plays a fertility doctor who believes firmly in life and death, but after noticing the strange behavior of her young daughter, she must challenge her own values and confront a ghost from her past.
You had me at Elizabeth Moss, and then you lost me at Ghost from her past. Dark Harvest moves on.
Dark Harvest versus Antlers. In an isolated Oregon town, a middle school teacher and her sheriff brother become embroiled with her enigmatic student? There we go. Whose dark secrets lead to terrifying encounters with a legendary ancestral creature who came before them.
Everything is the past coming to haunt us. I'm going to stick with Dark Harvest.
It's because they're trying to live off this 2020 bullshit next year.
Lame. Lame.
Dark Harvest moves on?
Yep.
Alright, let's see here. I'm not going to include this one, but Fear Street, an R.L. Stine book series, is coming out next year.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Part 1 and 2, I guess.
Nice.
Part 1, 2, and 3 are coming out. Okay. Let's see here. Urban Legend, a diverse cast of college students as they navigate a series of bizarre deaths that resemble urban legends linked to the darkest corners of social media.
You know what? I'm going to go with that one. That sounds fun. I like urban legends. I think that's a fun concept, that they're going to investigate them and probably die from them.
I hope that's exactly how it is. I hope it's like Resurrection Mary, Chupacabra and shit like that. Like, and I hope it's not like one of these, like, you know, cyberbullying bullshit movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hatching. A young gymnast who desperately tries to please her obsessive mother discovers an unusual egg. She hides it and keeps it warm, but what emerges when it happens shocks them all.
Yeah. I'm going to switch to that one. Hatching?
Hatching.
Nice. That sounds cool.
There's Someone in Your House. The graduating class of Osborne High is being targeted by a masked assailant intent on exposing the darkest secrets of each victim, and only a group of misfit outsiders can stop the killings.
Shit. I'm gonna keep hatching.
It sounds like Scream, or I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yep.
Or Scream
like Placid. Or,
yeah.
I mean, basically Friday the 13th.
Last House on the Left.
Halloween.
God.
Everything but Freddy.
All right, last one. Don't Breathe. 2. The blind man returns to terrorize more unsuspecting people. This is the last one, Joe.
That's it? It's just the blind man returns to terrorize people?
Yep.
That actually does sound really interesting to me. Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe.
I'm intrigued.
Don't Breathe.
Yeah, it's the second one.
I don't even know what the first one is.
Don't even watch the first one, listeners. Just go right to the second.
Is that your pick?
That's my pick.
That's your pick? You're going with Don't Breathe?
That's the one. Go see Don't Breathe 2.
And go see Don't Breathe 2.
Mm-hmm. It'll be great, because you'll be in a theater and COVID still won't be fully taken care of, so it'll be a great reminder to not breathe while you're in the theater.
Now, there was one more movie I thought was coming out in 2021. I just want to check it out because maybe we'll have a dark horse here. Because if this one is it, I would hope this be the winner. But I just want to double check. I just really want to double check. Okay, yep. So this one is coming out next year. Following the events at home, the Abbott family now faces the terrors of the outside world. Forced to venture into the unknown, they realize the creatures that hurt by sound are not their only threats. Quiet Place Part 2.
That is the winner.
That's the winner?
Yep.
It's gotta be, right? John Krasinski?
Yep, Emily Blunt.
Now, the reason I mentioned this one last is because it wasn't on the list and because it was considered a 2020 release, but it's not being released now until April 23rd of 2021.
Fantastic. That's the movie to go see. I still haven't seen A Quiet Place, but I heard it was just so good.
I haven't either. But I can tell you right now, Quiet Place 2 ruined the ending, so...
Fair enough.
Excellent. All right, Joe. We gotta do Freaky Tales here. We're going to do that here in a minute, but I do want to remind all of you guys to make sure that you guys stick around with us, not only past this freaky show, but also the first week of November. We are celebrating our 5-year anniversary of podcasting this freaking show. As it stands right now, I don't want to promise anything, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Awkward Colin will most likely be back for that episode. I do believe we will also be accompanied by Fear and Clint from, if you remember Clint from Geek Dig Pod, and Fear from Twat FM.
That's right.
So, I'm excited for that. There's going to be a game that we play on that episode that we played, I believe, on our 100th episode. So I'm going to bring everyone back. Awkward Colin is going to try to do his best to be part of that episode with us because we're going to celebrate half a decade with this podcast, giving you guys podcast gold of a great podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. Yeah. All right, Freak Joe. I'm going to kind of step back, and I'm going to allow you the opportunity now to take over the show and do what you do.
Fantastic. The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. The Red Death had long devastated the country. No pestilence had ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its avatar and its seal. The redness and the horror of blood. There were sharp pains and sudden dizziness, and then profuse bleeding at the pores with dissolution. The scarlet stains upon the body, and especially upon the face of the victim, were the pest ban which shut him out from the aid and from the sympathy of his fellow men. And the whole seizure, progress, and termination of the disease were the incidents of half an hour. But the Prince Prospero was happy, and dauntless and sagacious. When his dominions were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends from among the knights and dames of the court, and with these retired to the deep seclusion of one of his castellated abbeys. This was an extensive and magnificent structure, the creation of the prince's own eccentric yet august taste. A strong and lofty wall girdled it in. This wall had gates of iron. The courtiers, having entered, brought furnaces and massy hammers and welded the bolts. They resolved to leave means neither of ingress nor egress to the sudden impulses of despair or of frenzy from within. The abbey was amply provisioned. With such precautions, the courtiers might bid defiance to contagion. The external world could take care of itself. In the meantime, it was folly to grieve, or to think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure. There were buffoons, there were improvisatori, there were ballet dancers, there were musicians, there was beauty, there was wine. All these and security were within. Without was the Red Death. It was toward the close of the 5th or 6th month of his seclusion, and while the pestilence raged most furiously abroad, that the Prince Prospero entertained his 1,000 friends at a masked ball of the most unusual magnificence. It was a voluptuous scene, that masquerade. But first, let me tell of the rooms in which it was held. There were 7. An imperial suite. In many palaces, however, such suites form a long and straight vista. Folding doors slide back nearly to the walls on either hand, so that the view of the whole extent is scarcely impeded. Here the case was very different, as might have been expected from the Duke's love of the bizarre. The apartments were so irregularly disposed that the vision embraced but little more than one at a time. There was a sharp turn at every 20 or 30 yards, and at each turn a novel effect. To the right and left and the middle of each wall a tall and narrow Gothic window looked out upon a closed corridor, which pursued the windings of the suite. These windows were of stained glass, whose color varied in accordance with the prevailing hue of the decorations of the chamber into which it opened. That at the eastern extremity was hung, for example, in blue and vividly blue its windows. The second chamber was purple in its ornaments and tapestries, and here the panes were purple. The third was green throughout, and so were the casements. The fourth was furnished and lightened with orange, the 5th with white, the 6th with violet. The 7th apartment was closely shrouded in black velvet tapestries that hung all over the ceiling and down the walls, falling in heavy folds upon a carpet of the same material and hue. But in this chamber only, the color of the windows failed to correspond with the decorations. The panes here were scarlet, a deep blood color. Now, in none of the 7 apartments was there any lamp or candelabrum amid the profusion of golden ornaments that lay scattered to and fro or depended from the roof. There was no light of any kind emanating from lamp or candle within the suite of chambers, but in the corridors that followed the suite there stood opposite to each window a heavy tripod, bearing a brazier of fire, that projected its rays through the tinted glass and so glaringly illumined the room. And thus were produced a multitude of gaudy and fantastic appearances. But in the western or black chamber the effect of the firelight that streamed upon the dark hangings through the blood-tinted panes was ghastly in the extreme, and produced so wild a look upon the countenances of those who entered that there were few of the company bold enough to set foot within its precincts at all. It was in this apartment also that there stood against the western wall a gigantic clock of ebony. Its pendulum swung to and fro with a dull, heavy, monotonous clang. And when the minute hand made the circuit of the face, and the hour was to be stricken, there came from the brazen lungs of the clock a sound which was clear and loud and deep and exceedingly musical, but of so peculiar a note and emphasis that at each lapse of an hour the musicians of the orchestra were constrained to pause momentarily in their performance to hearken to the sound, and thus the waltzers perforce ceased their evolutions, and there was a brief disconcert of the whole gay company. And while the chimes of the clock yet rang, it was observed that the giddiest grew pale, and the more aged and sedate passed their hands over their brows, as if in confused reverie or meditation. But when the echoes had fully ceased, a light laughter at once pervaded the assembly. The musicians looked at each other and smiled as if at their own nervousness and folly, and made whispering vows, each to the other, that the next chiming of the clock should produce in them no similar emotion. And then, after the lapse of 60 minutes, which embrace 3,600 seconds of the time that flies, there came yet another chiming of the clock, and then were the same disconcert and tremulousness and meditation as before. But in spite of these things, it was a gay and magnificent revel. The tastes of the Duke were peculiar. He had a fine eye for colors and effects. He disregarded the decora of mere fashion. His plans were bold and fiery, and his conceptions glowed with barbaric luster. There were some who would have thought him mad. His followers felt that he was not. It was necessary to hear and see and touch him to be sure that he was not. He had directed, in great part, the movable embellishments of the 7 chambers upon occasion of this great fete, and it was his own guiding taste which had given character to the masqueraders. Be sure they were grotesque. There were many glare and glitter and piquancy and phantasm, much of what has been seen since in Hernani. There were arabesque figures with unsuited limbs and appointments. There were delirious fancies, such as the madman fashions. There were much of the beautiful, much of the wanton, much of the bizarre, something of the terrible, and not a little of that which might have been excited disgust. To and fro in there stalked, in fact, a multitude of dreams. And these, the dreams, writhed in and about, taking hue from the rooms, and causing the wild music of the orchestra to seem as the echo of their steps. And anon there strikes the ebony clock which stands in the hall of the velvet, and then for a moment all is still, and all is silent, save the voice of the clock. The dreams are stiff frozen as they stand, but the echoes of the chime die away. They have endured but an instant, and a light, half-subdued laughter floats after them as they depart. And now again the music swells, and the dreams live and writhe to and fro more merrily than ever, taking hue from the many-tinted windows through which stream the rays from the tripods. But to the chamber which lies most westwardly of the 7, there are now none of the maskers who venture, for the night is waning away, and there flows a ruddier light through the blood-colored panes and the blackness of the sable drapery. And to him whose foot falls upon the sable carpet, there comes from the near clock of ebony a muffled peal, more solemnly emphatic than any which reaches the ears who indulge in the more remote gaieties of the other apartments. But these other apartments were densely crowded, and in them beat feverishly the heart of life. And the revel went whirlingly on, until at length there commenced the sounding of midnight upon the clock. And then the music ceased, as I have told, and the evolutions of the waltzers were quieted, and there was an uneasy cessation of all things as before. But now there were 12 strokes to be sounded by the bell of the clock. And thus it happened, perhaps, that more of thought crept, with more of time, into the meditations of the thoughtful among those who revelled, and thus, too, it happened, perhaps, that before the last echoes of the last chime had utterly sunk into silence, there were many individuals in the crowd who had found leisure to become aware of the presence of a masked figure, which had arrested the attention of no single individual before. And the rumor of this new presence having spread itself whisperingly around, there arose at length from the whole company a buzz, or murmur expressive of disapprobation and surprise. Then finally, of terror, of horror, and of disgust. In an assembly of phantasms such as I have painted, it may well be supposed that no ordinary appearance could have excited such sensation. In truth, the masquerade license of the night was nearly unlimited, but the figure in question had out-Heroded Herod, and gone beyond the bounds of even the prince's infinite decorum. There are chords in the hearts of the most reckless which cannot be touched without emotion, even with the utterly lost to whom life and death are equally jests. There are matters of which no jest can be made. The whole company, indeed, seemed now deeply to feel that in the costume and bearing of the stranger neither wit nor propriety existed. The figure was tall and gaunt, and shrouded from head to foot in the habiliments of the grave. The mask which concealed the visage was made so nearly to resemble the countenance of a stiffened corpse that the closest scrutiny must have had difficulty in detecting the cheat. And yet all this might have been endured, if not approved by the mad revelers around, but the murmur had gone so far as to assume the type of the Red Death. His vesture was dabbled in blood, his broad brow with all the features of the face was besprinkled with the scarlet horror. When the eyes of Prince Prospero fell upon this spectral image, which was slow and solemn movement, as if more fully to sustain its role, stalked true and fro among the waltzers, he was seen to be convulsed. In the first moment with a strong shudder, either of terror or distaste, but in the next his brow reddened with rage. "Who dares?" he demanded hoarsely of the courtiers who stood near him. "Who dares insult us with this blasphemous mockery? Seize him and unmask him that we may know whom we have to hang at sunrise from the battlements." It was in the eastern or blue chamber in which stood the Prince Prospero as he uttered these words. They rang throughout the 7 rooms loudly and clearly, for the prince was a bold and robust man, and the music had become hushed at the waving of his hand. It was in the blue room where stood the prince, with a group of pale courtiers by his side. At first, as he spoke, there was a slight rushing movement of this group in the direction of the intruder, who, at the moment, was also near at hand. And now, with deliberate and stately step, made closer approach to the speaker. But from a certain nameless awe, with which the mad assumptions of the mummer had inspired the whole party, there were found none who put forth hand to seize him, so that, unimpeded, he passed within a yard of the prince's person. And while the vast assembly, as if with one impulse, shrank from the centers of the rooms to the walls, he made his way uninterruptedly, but with the same solemn and measured step which had distinguished him from the first, through the blue chamber to the purple, through the purple to the green to the orange, through this again to the white, and even thence to the violet, ere a decided movement had been made to arrest him. It was then, however, that the Prince Prospero, maddening with rage and the shame of his own momentary cowardice, rushed hurriedly through the 6 chambers, while none followed him on account of a deadly terror that had seized upon all. He bore aloft a drawn dagger and approached in rapid impetuosity to within 3 or 4 feet of the retreating figure, when the latter, having attained the extremity of the velvet apartment, turned suddenly and confronted his pursuer. There was a sharp cry, and the dagger dropped, gleaming upon the sable carpet, upon which instantly afterward fell prostrate in death the Prince Prospero. Then, summoning the wild courage of despair, a throng of the revelers at once threw themselves into the black apartment and, seizing the mummer whose tall figure stood erect and motionless within the shadow of the ebony clock, gasped in unutterable horror at finding the grave cerements and corpse-like mask which they had handled with so violent a rudeness, untenanted by any tangible form. And now was acknowledged the presence of the Red Death. He had come like a thief in the night, and one by one dropped the revelers in the blood-bedewed halls of their revel, and died, each in the despairing posture of his fall. And the life of the ebony clock went out with that of the last of the gay, and the flames of the tripods expired, and darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all.
The end?
The end.
Excellent. Joe, let me tell you something about you reading Edgar Allan Poe. And let me start by saying, absolutely amazing. Crushed it every fucking time. Here's the thing. And I'm not sure if it's you or if it's old man Poe, but there's always those moments in your story where it sounds like it's the end of the story and then you pick back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's an Edgar Allan Poe. It's gotta be, but at the same time, the only time I've ever heard Edgar Allan Poe be read to me is by the Freak Show.
It's a creative choice on my part. I like to create suspense in the story.
Crush it every fucking time. And I loved how you threw in the little clock sound there.
Oh, thank you.
Loved it. Good job. I was a little worried about asking if it was the end because normally you say the end at the end of the story. But I'm glad I asked. Who knows how long we would sit there in silence?
I know, right? No, I was about to say it right when you chimed in.
Oh, so. Perfect. My bad. That's on me.
No, you're good.
That's on me. Joey, I asked you something 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to ask you again this week.
Okay.
We have a surprise for the next season. Do you want to talk about it now?
No.
No? Still no?
Still no.
Can I ask you what you're waiting for?
I am waiting for the episode before the season finale.
Okay. That I'm okay with. Guys, so like as mentioned, I guess we'll wait. That's fine. I thought maybe we do it ahead of time. Can we at least do it on the 5-year anniversary?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, let's do it on the 5-year anniversary. That way it kind of gets people prepared for it.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So, obviously we got this freaky show over the next 3 weeks. Following that, the first week of November is our 5-year anniversary show. Our season finale is going to be the last week of November. So we're going to celebrate the season finale as well as Turkey Day. And then season 4 will start promptly the following week on the first week of December, which will bring you this awesome new amazing idea that we came up with. That I hope you guys enjoy it. I know we will. It'll be something new for me, and I think it'll kind of help Cartoon Joe kind of keep his excitement into this freaking show. I know that it's like, what more can we do this Cartoon Joe like? And I think this really would be it.
I do. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be really fun.
Excellent. So, it's the Freak Joe's fault that you guys have to wait 4 more weeks, but hey, it'll be fine. It'll be
String them
worth
along.
the wait.
String them along.
Yeah,
Build the suspense.
Absolutely. Another thing. I know this I'm going to announce now. It's going to be official now. I know we're talking about how this we do Follow Your Star Wars once a month. We're not going to do that monthly anymore. We're going to stop that. There isn't going to be a Follow Your Star Award recipient. There's not going to be any more Star Award recipients for season 3.
Yep.
I think what we decided and what we may do is not 100%, but we will, I think, do like a Star Award like once a year maybe or something like that.
Yeah. I feel like it became something where we were using it more to complain about minor inconveniences.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think we're going to turn it into almost like an Oscar kind of thing, but not, we're not going to pick a bunch of, maybe we will. We'll see. We'll see how much people interact. Maybe we'll pick like 5 people and you guys can vote on who deserves it, but.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so maybe we'll look at that. Maybe we'll look at doing something like that, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to do any more Star Awards, for this season. So there's not going to be one for October. There's not going to be one for September. There's not going to be one for November. So maybe next November we will do that. We'll keep that in mind. Joe, if you could, please make a note of that.
Yep.
I appreciate that. And while you're at it, what are you freaking thinking about?
I am freaking thinking about Samurai Jack. It is.
Is that still a thing?
No, well, not really, but it's on Adult Swim. You can watch it. And I got an HBO Max password, and it's on HBO Max for some reason. So I watched it all. It was real good.
Gotcha.
Very good. Yep. Still really enjoy it.
So you're watching the old classic shows of Samurai Jack.
Yep. And there was a season 5 that came out that was newer. It came out in 2016.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, but that was it. It was the end of the show. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was good. What about you? What are you freaking thinking about?
I hate to keep coming back to it, but I really at the same time enjoy it. I'm very happy with the feedback on the first video we released on YouTube of the cemetery tour.
Oh, nice.
I wish the feedback I got was more comments on the video, thumbs up on the video, instead of just being like personal text or Snapchat responses and stuff, and people saying like, hey, awesome job, hey, that's really cool, I didn't know you guys did that, blah, 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 stuff like that. But I'm really happy with it. I'm glad people are enjoying it. I do recommend you guys, though, if you watch our videos and you do like them and you do think they're awesome and you want us to know that, please leave a comment on the video, give a thumbs up to the video, share the video with your friends, and make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because it does help us and it pushes us to do a lot more for you guys. Me and Cartoon Joe have been crushing the fucking YouTube as far as like, those diet journeys, which I do believe we should get back to doing.
Yeah, we should, but we're in the candy month, and then next month is the turkey month, and
yeah, it's
maybe January,
right? Right. It's something I think we definitely need to get back into. It's just right now it is definitely really hard because we do have a lot going on with this freaky show, and next month we do have the 5-year anniversary and stuff like that. So, I think it's a plan to get back into it. But there's also, a lot of those like food rankings and stuff like that we enjoy doing, that we want to look into doing as well. And I know when we were out on the road doing, the cemetery tours, we did kind of like remind ourselves of, Italian beef kind of sandwich ranking of like various beef sandwiches in Chicago.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things we do want to do. I know, right? There are a lot of things we want to do as it relates to, YouTube and vlogging and video content and stuff like that. So we kind of bring you a different outlet of our entertainment, more visually rather than just the podcast that we do here. Now we're still going to continue to do the podcast because we love doing it, but it's a different way of giving you guys more stuff to like watch. So, the best way to motivate us to do it is by, subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell so you know when they're happening, and also liking and commenting on the videos and stuff like that. And on top of all that, all the other social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, make sure you're following us and everything so you see what's going on. I did goof on the vlogs, and I forgot to take some pictures at the cemetery, so that is on me. I should have done that. So it's not going to be up on Instagram like I hoped, but the videos are still there on YouTube. Again, just search FreakNet Studios on YouTube. We will pop up. You'll see our logo. And did you literally just comment first on the video?
Yep.
I love you. You're my favorite guy.
I'm glad.
Where was I at?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Instagram. You were just past Instagram.
Yeah. So we didn't take the pictures, so that's on me. But the videos are available on Freaknet Studios YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe there. Share with your friends. It's an awesome way to kind of like tour these cemeteries if you haven't had a chance to check them out. Some of them are pretty big. Some of them are pretty like far back. And I mean, there was one we had to like turn around because we fucking missed it. Awesome opportunity to do this. And I'm happy I got a chance to do it with Joey, not only because he is my co-host here on the podcast, but he's also my brother. He's family, and we don't get enough chances to see each other, especially in this, COVID bullshit, but it was awesome to kind of spend a day doing that. So I want to do that a lot more. I want to do that a lot more with Joe. And the best way to do that is for you guys to say, hey, we want more of this. And by doing that is by subscribing to our social medias, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and all that shit. So, and yes, Freaknet Studios is a thing. It is growing still. We are trying to do more content, along with, Just Freakin' Wrestling and Doug Gray Area and stuff like that. So, we do appreciate all that stuff. But of course, I gotta do this before we leave. Hey, Freak Joe.
Yes.
Normally every week our listeners could catch Cartoon Joe here on this freaking show. But for the next 4 weeks, Cartoon Joe won't be here because you will be here taking his place. Now, if our listeners start missing Cartoon Joe and they need to find Joe, where can they go?
If you need Cartoon Joe, you can find him over at the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find him on Facebook, iTunes, Google Play, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check our show out every single week on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and now on Amazon Music. All you gotta do is search This Freakin' Show. This Freaky Show is a month-long celebration of Halloween that is brought to you by Travesty and Cartoon Joe here on This Freakin' Show, and we will do it for 3 weeks more. That's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. So as always, I am Travesty.
And I'm the Freak Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of This Freakin' Show. I'm out.